Hey folks, here are OS Reviews. You're watching our video unboxing and first impressions of the Xiaomi Redmi 4X. This is an unlocked 4G smartphone that retails for less than $120 for the base model, and that includes 2 GB of built-in RAM coupled with 16 GB of built-in flash storage, expandable via a micro SD card. So at this price, it's an incredible value for the money, especially considering that it's rocking a Snapdragon 435 processor, and this is an octa-core chipset clocked at 1.4 GHz, and will obviously perform superior to other low-cost MediaTek alternatives. What's also unique about this phone is it features a whopping 4,100 mAh capacity battery in a 5-inch phone, and that means the battery life will be outstanding and will get you perhaps over 2 to 3 days of use without having to recharge it. It does have a 720p HD display panel and also features a 13 megapixel rear camera for taking images, along with MIUI 8, which is a skin that Xiaomi has made on top of the typical Android user experience. So this is what the packaging is like. It's very minimalistic, just like most of Xiaomi's products, and you can see some Chinese documentation on the back, since this one was originally meant for the Chinese market. There is a dual SIM version available as well, and the front-facing camera is rated at 5 megapixels for selfies and taking images with, and that's pretty much it. It's a very clean looking box. So opening up the kind of sealed tape on the sides and seeing what contents we have in the box, it seems like right on top we have access to the phone itself, which has a matte screen protector pre-installed. This phone does also have a biometric fingerprint scanner located on the rear, which is a very rare feature to find, again, on such a low-cost budget phone. It also features an aluminum build that we'll discuss more in depth, of course, in the review and later on in the hands-on first impressions. Other contents include a first kind of thank you card that is also documented in Chinese. There's a QR code that tells you about Xiaomi's warranty services, and here we have the 2 SIM card slots documented. You can either insert a micro SIM and a nano SIM, or a micro SIM and a micro SD card, so you have 2 options there. Underneath here we have a SIM ejector tool, and there's also a standard AC power plug that features a simple USB-based lead, and of course we have just a standard micro USB cable for charging and data transfer. There are no bundled headphones with this kit, of course, since this is a relatively, again, low-cost device, coming in under $120 for a pretty solidly performing smartphone, in my opinion. So here we have the phone. Let's take a closer look at its design, and you can see that it's fairly compact as far as size is concerned, putting it up to another 5-inch phone. This is the Fecom Passion 660 that has, again, the same screen size. You can tell that the dimensions are pretty similar as far as the overall build and also in terms of the overall thickness. If we take a closer look at some of the hardware elements of the phone, the top and the bottom edges here are made out of plastic, and that's for the antenna reception. The back does feature the Xiaomi branding on the aluminum, which feels actually very sturdy and also solid in construction. There is the aforementioned fingerprint scanner and the 13 megapixel camera with LED flash. On the bottom, you'll find the micro USB port for charging, along with the speaker grills, and on the sides, you have access to the SIM card slot, a full 3.5mm headphone port, an IR blaster for controlling your television, again, another unique feature at a low cost, and of course there is the volume rocker and power on-off switch, which are all pretty tactile on first impressions basis. The phone seems to have a bit of juice, so we'll turn it on and go into the initial boot sequence. You can see the bottom does feature your standard Android controls, including home, back, and menu, and the top, of course, has the proximity light sensor, the earpiece, and the 5 megapixel front-facing camera. The screen does have a 2.5D curve to it, so the edges slightly taper off at the sides here, and that makes it seem more kind of fancy. And also, if you're swiping left and right through gestures, it does make the experience feel a bit more intuitive. So let's see how long it takes to completely load up into MIUI 8. Pretty fast, actually. It's going to tell us to select a language here. Seems like we have a choice of 2 keyboard options, either Swift key or the traditional kind of Google keyboard. So I'm just going to tap on, let's say, Swift key for now, and afterwards it's going to tell us to connect to a Wi-Fi network, and hopefully that will continue. It is pretty fast and responsive in terms of the screen sensitivity on first impressions. Terms and conditions, I'm going to skip for SIM card at this time, and Let's go to the next. And of course, we can create a Google account to log into your Gmail services and Play services. If you don't have one, you can also create one. So right now we have to create or sign into our Xiaomi Mi account, which requires your phone number and it looks like a password to create. Now we can also skip this if we want to, and of course set it up later in the settings. So let's try out the fingerprint sensor. Alright, so we're just going to put our finger onto the sensor. It's going to vibrate once using the haptic sensor, and at slightly varying positions, hopefully it can map a more complete version of what my fingerprint looks like. I can add multiple fingers as well for signing in more easily if I'm left or right-handed, and tap on done when it's finished. Additional settings, I'm just going to tap on OK for all of these. You can see the ambient light sensor will make the screen brighter or dimmer automatically, and let's agree on location services. Finally, you can choose a theme, and more theme packages can be set up from the Xiaomi store. So things like default, high life, ocean breeze can also be kind of used to change the wallpaper and kind of the way the icons are displayed. A pretty neat trick. Setup is now complete. So it takes, I would say, under 2 minutes to completely set up and sign into all your accounts, and for the most part, it works pretty well. Let's peel off the stickers on the back while the phone is completing its boot. You'll see that all kind of the certifications are also still documented mostly in Chinese, since again, this phone was kind of ported from China even though it's running the international version of the ROM or the software. So again, a very clean look on the back, as you can see here. And it seems like it's still currently loading up the apps for the very first time. Something I want to quickly point out about the screen here is it does not have Corning's Gorilla Glass protection. It is a tempered glass, so it should be quite strong, but it's not as durable to scratches and day-to-day wear as more expensive Corning Gorilla Glass products. That's something to quickly keep in mind. Dimension-wise, I would say the design also is a little reminiscent of the iPhone 7 and the iPhone 6 and 6S with its bezel size on the top and the bottom. Overall, it's not bad at all, and for again, a low-cost phone, you can see that has really respectable edges, and it seems a lot more expensive than it really is. Coupled with the relatively powerful hardware that you get for this money, I would say that Xiaomi did a great job in terms of extrapolating the value for a low-cost unlocked phone. So we're certainly excited to take a closer look at its performance, test it out, and of course come out with a more complete review soon. But for now, this has been mostly our unboxing and first impressions. Let's wait a few more seconds until we get a quick idea of what the MIUI experience is like. We've seen it on past Xiaomi phones, of course, so not much has changed in that regard, but you can see there is no universal app drawer. Everything is displayed on pages similar to iOS, and that can be a good thing and a bad thing. On the plus side, it's very intuitive and easy to use. Mi Remote is used to control the IR blaster on the top to turn television or air conditioner sets on or off, and of course there are a few preloaded apps by Xiaomi since this is a relatively highly customized version of Android. It's not very vanilla, however for the most part it looks quite clean and aesthetically pleasing. So we'll do of course more testing, but for now this has been our video. Thanks for watching here at OS Reviews. This has been our unboxing first look at the impressively low cost Xiaomi Redmi 4X.